Okay, your daughter was injured in a, let's just say, accident up at Oxford this year. What exactly happened?
Okay, yes, on August 24th, I think it was around 7:15 p.m., my daughter and two of her friends were run over after crossing the crosswalk. They did everything right. They walked when the light told them to walk. They got across the street onto the sidewalk and a truck hit them. And according to eyewitnesses, my daughter was thrown 20 feet. One of the other victims was thrown 10 feet, and her head was about 6 feet under the truck. So he actually ran over on top of one of the victims. Thankfully, the tire didn't hit her. What
were her injuries?
Well, collectively, they all had pretty extensive concussions. My daughter, in particular, had a severe concussion. One of them had a dislocated jaw, broken bones in the foot, sprained ankle, road rash, stitches in the face, fractured nose, broken.
And it was two girls and a guy, right?
2 girls and a guy.
And what happened to the guy?
What happened to the guy? He had a pretty substantial concussion.
Okay. They went to the hospital and was diagnosed?
They all went to the emergency room that night, yes, and were diagnosed.
And how fast was the guy do y'all think he was going?
I have no idea. I know that while he was stopped at the light, according to a driver behind him, he was revving his engine. He was, I think, 2 or 3 cars back from the light. So thankfully he was stopped at the light, or I think it could have been a lot worse. And he just drove straight up onto the sidewalk and hit them. And there are 2 utility boxes that stopped the truck. He never even attempted to put on the brakes.
What was he charged with?
Well, he was charged with a DUI, first offense, and possession of a fake ID.
And the DUI part, but I think they found he was not drinking. It was I think it was a DUI other, correct? Is that
correct?
Is that correct, Counselor?
That's my understanding.
And my understanding is DUI other is when drugs are involved, is my understanding.
So, yes, my understanding is he was charged with DUI other. There were witnesses that saw him doing whippets while he was driving.
Explain that for the audience.
Okay. So, whippets are something that, unfortunately, these kids and adults are buying around the Oxford area.
Yeah, we're not talking about the Devo song.
You're right. And it's nitrous oxide, and it's for whipped cream canisters.
They use it in a commercial setting to make whipped cream, and they'll have these big carafes basically that they put the nitrous canisters in, and those cans, which are used by restaurants, for example, people will buy the cans, they'll buy the cartridges, and then they'll just do nothing but the gas that's inside the can. They'll call the can a womp can, and the reason that they call it a womp can is because when you inhale the gas, your brain goes womp womp as you black out. And essentially, from what it appears in the video, he's hit the womp can, taking the nitrous oxide. As the light is turning green, he blacks out, and then he loses control of the vehicle while he's unconscious and drives into the back of these 3 kids. And but for the utility box, the injuries could have been life-ending.
Do we know how badly damaged the utility box was? Did it just completely take it out, or do we know?
No, it's dented. Okay. and
pretty good dent.
Pretty good dent.
Yes, and there's video that shows from a lot of different angles the accident happening. It kind of seemed like it was in slow motion, but even at 10, 15 miles an hour, I mean, a truck hitting a student or any person is going to cause damages significantly.
And if I remember correctly, the police report said they actually found 2 whippet cans in his car that were empty, or truck. And another witness saw him get out of the truck and one just fell out of his hand or lap or something. Is that?
That's correct. That's on video.
Okay.
Yes, of the whippet can falling out of his hand or lap as he's stepping out of the
With the
truck.
implication being he was probably doing the stuff while he was.
And
Right.
one of the witnesses that recorded after the accident actually saw him in the traffic hitting the want can. So when I talked to the police were aware and they had seen all the videos. And I don't, whether they spoke to the individual that took the actual video, I'm not sure of. They didn't provide that information to me. But they had received and reviewed all the same videos that Samantha had been able to obtain.
That's my understanding, yes, that they've reviewed those.
Okay.
Though by the charges, you wouldn't think so.
Excuse me. The police reports, y'all had a chance to read them,
Yes.
and they're going to be included in my story. So, what questions or issues did you have about the police reports and their narratives?
Oh gosh, there's so many that I brought up to Oxford PD on numerous occasions. The first one was they had my daughter's birthday wrong. Obviously a typo, but they had her birthday incorrect by 6 years.
And how old is she?
She is 19 years old.
Okay.
And they did not have the injuries listed, injuries that were on the initial even ER visit. Now, obviously, some injuries were diagnosed after the initial ER visit, but the traumatic, like the brain injury, the severe concussions, those things were documented in the initial visit to the ER. Broken nose was documented in the initial visit to the ER, concussions, sprains, etc. The reason why I say that is because apparently the kids signed a release for those documents to be given to Oxford PD. A medical release.
Which is probably standard for such cases, wouldn't you say, Counselor?
You would think, yes.
Which you kind of want to determine what the charge is going to be. What else is wrong in the reports? You and I discussed it before. There were some other flaws.
I'm trying to think what else was wrong. I know there's a bunch.
About them trying to notify people, I think you had some questions about that.
About, about notifying people.
Or keeping updated.
Oh, well, absolutely. So one of the things that's wrong in the police report is, well, I mean, there's just so much. They closed this case. Do you want to talk about that?
Sure.
They closed that case, DUI case, where 3 pedestrians were hit while on the sidewalk. They closed it within 4 weeks.
Yeah, September 24th, if I remember correctly.
Correct.
Right at 4 weeks.
Yes. So they closed the case. They fast-tracked it. The victims have the right, and families have the right to know when that case is going to be presented. None of us were notified. And one of the other parents had been contacting victim services and the courts asking when the court date was going to be, and it just slid under everyone's radar.
Were they able to get a hold of someone, or just nobody would call them back, or what?
No, they were able to get a hold of the people at victim services, and when they found out that the case was already closed, victim services wasn't even aware that it had been fast-tracked and pushed through. So they were surprised. It kind of caught everyone by
What was your reaction?
by surprise. I was upset. I was hurt. I was upset because we've been asking for additional charges to be brought against the driver, Sam Wellborn, since the very beginning.
And he's from Brandon, correct?
He's from Brandon, Mississippi.
Okay.
Yes, Samuel Wellborn. I believe he's 20 years old. I mean, he just never even attempted to put on the brakes, which doing whippets would cause you to pass out. It's just, there's just so much wrong with everything that happened. And we weren't notified. And to be asked, the kids were asked for medical records after the case was already closed. So they don't even have all the injuries listed in the police report.
Well, this counselor qualified. I saw they mentioned they tried to tell y'all were wanting a simple assault charge against them, but would this qualify more for an aggravated because there was serious injuries involved?
Well, that's certainly what our clients wanted. And why it was fast-tracked, I have no clue. I mean, you've seen how the legal process works.
All too well.
And on something like this where you have serious injuries, the fact that it was able to go through the court system that quickly, honestly, it shocked the conscience. And they knew that she was represented by counsel. They knew that all of the individuals had attorneys. They were asking for information, and they just simply didn't get it.
Mm-hmm. He pleaded guilty on September 24th. Here's a sentence: 48 hours in jail suspended. Correct?
No. Oh, I don't believe he would spent 48 hours in
No,
jail.
suspended.
It was suspended.
Okay. Oh, okay, sorry.
I talk fast, sorry. $1,400 fine. Whatever the class they have to go to, and that was it. So he had to pay a little fine, and nothing else happened to him.
You apparently go to alcohol class.
Yeah.
Which is standard for a DUI, even though his was drug induced. But yes. Yeah, nothing about the injuries, nothing. I haven't seen anything about the possession of the fake ID. It's like they just let all of that go. And
Right.
I have since spoken with...
Yeah, discuss that for a second, the fake ID part.
So when he was arrested, he had possession of a fake ID on him. So they wrote him a
And I
ticket.
think that's what he gave. When they first asked him for his license, that's what he gave to them, was a fake ID.
That's my understanding.
Yeah, that's what the report said. Then they got his real license and said, hey, buddy.
Yeah.
Well, let me say this. One of the big problems that I know that the families have is that in order to bring a DUI where there are serious injuries, you would have to know what the injuries are. The problem in this case is that someone in the police department or the prosecutor's office decided that these injuries weren't serious. How they decided the injuries were not serious is really beside us, because they never sought the information about the injuries from any of the victims' families. So, the simple fact is that someone should be held accountable for the fact that none of these individuals had their voice heard. The individual was prosecuted for a crime, honestly, that was a lesser crime that had nothing to do with the injuries that he caused. All because someone made the decision that these individuals, because they weren't killed, that they weren't seriously injured. And that shouldn't be the standard. I mean, Oxford has had tons of problems with drinking and driving up there. I mean, it's well documented. An individual from here died a few years back from being run over by a drunk driver. Oxford knows that it's a problem, and one more incident happens again, and what's the response? Well, the response is to sweep it under the rug because the individual got the right attorney that had the contacts in order to fast track a case.
Do we know who his attorney was here?
Yes, it was a former ADA for Oxford.
So if they lawyered up, got a former prosecutor for the county though, but wait, prosecutor for Oxford or Lafayette County? Oxford?
I believe it was the county, is my understanding, but I'm
He was
not.
an ADA, then it would have been
Okay,
county.
former ADA for county. Okay.
Believe me, it gets hard keeping all these things, all these acronyms straight. Trust me.
Which he's entitled to a criminal defense
Sure.
attorney, sure, and nobody has an issue with that, and nobody has an issue with the defense attorney doing everything they can to defend and represent their client. The problem that I know that Samantha, and as I understand, although I don't represent the other families, that the other families have is the simple fact that nobody really sought the information necessary to determine how severe these injuries were in order to bring the proper charges against this individual.
And you've never
Correct.
spoken to a prosecutor, correct?
I actually did finally speak briefly to Jay Chain, who
When did that happen?
that happened 2 weeks ago. And so he
So
said...
about a month after the case
Correct.
was adjudicated.
After I left several messages, and he suggested I call Honey Usry, who from the very beginning I was told to call. I have called her so many
And who is
times.
she?
She's the assistant DA.
Okay.
And apparently she's the one that has shot down any additional charges against
All right.
Samuel Welburn. I've contacted her. One of the other parents has contacted her, and we were even told she's expecting our call. She doesn't return calls. She will not speak to us. We called her from the very beginning, asking to increase the charges against Sam Welburn, and nothing. Didn't receive any phone calls back. And the male victim in this accident, none of his injuries were documented. And they have my daughter documented with an ankle injury. She didn't even injure her ankle. She had plenty of other injuries.
Right.
Ankle was not one of them. There's just so much wrong with the police report. I don't even know where
Why
some
do
of
you
the
think that
information
is?
came from.
Think they were just sloppy, or
I think
what?
they rushed through it, and I in the beginning, and I don't think they were anticipating the case to be closed as quickly as it was. I don't even think they realized the case was closed, because why else would they be asking us for medical records after the case was already closed? So one of the other parents called them out and said, well, the case is closed. And they're like, what? And they were taken by surprise.
Who was taken by surprise? Parent of the police?
Oxford
Police
PD.
Department.
They were.
So everyone was sort of taken by surprise that this shot through.
Our general
so quickly.
feeling is that this wasn't really a product of Oxford Police Department as much as it was the prosecutor's office somehow decided that this case was just going to simply go away, and they made it simply go away, which is unfortunate, because the individual that hit these 3 children, he got a DUI a week later. You know, why this individual still had a driver's license when he was involved in a DUI that caused serious injuries, who knows?
So he's looking at being prosecuted right now for a second offense DUI.
Which is still a misdemeanor.
Correct.
Because
Not
they
till
didn't,
a third, yeah.
because they didn't bring the proper charges to begin with.
Now,
Correct.
it's too late. Say you got hold of the DA, Creekmore, and he decides, okay, let's take a look at this. But say for anything DUI related, say, would this have applied to would aggravated DUI have applied to this or not?
Our position and belief is that it should. At least it should have been considered.
But once they charge him with the DUI and convict him, then that's off the
That's
table.
off
That's off the table.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the families, we've asked for aggravated assault or anything else that can be brought against him. They actually, Captain Parker looked at bringing because I spoke to him after I felt like I wasn't really being heard, or that we weren't really being heard by Oxford PD. I spoke to Captain Parker. And
He's with Oxford PD, correct? Okay.
He's with Oxford PD, wonderful man, and he was looking at bringing additional charges against him. Honey would not approve any of the charges. One of the charges that they looked at bringing against him was mayhem, because they have to be careful now that the DUI is closed. You can't have any double jeopardy or anything like that. But she has shot everything down from the very beginning, from the very, very beginning of the families asking for charges to be stacked, because it was just such an outrageously preventable accident. He just had zero regard for human life, taking whippets that cause you to pass out while driving. And it's sad. I mean, the kid needs help, really. And the system's failing him. I feel like his family's failing him. He needs help.
You're all looking at suing them civilly?
We're in the process of obviously.
Is it being, let's just say, being considered?
Yeah, we're in the process of pursuing civil charges at this point. But you know, the real problem that Samantha and the families have really is the lack of accountability from the prosecutor's office into the charges that should have been brought but were never brought.
What would y'all like to see happen at this point?
I think the main thing that I know that Samantha and her family wants is they want the city of Oxford, although it's not necessarily Oxford's fault in what went on with the decision not to charge him. They want Oxford to do something to protect future lives. And something should be done. I mean, anyone that's been to Oxford, it's a great place, a lot of fun. The square on any given night is flooded with students that have been having fun, drinking, adults that have been, having fun, drinking legally. And then you throw in all of these cars and this serious traffic. I mean, these kind of accidents are going to continue to happen unless there's some things done to prevent that from happening.
Last question. See, it wasn't that bad, was it?
No.
What's your final thoughts about all this?
Well, my final thoughts, a few things I would like to see Oxford do. Make the intersection safe. They know that's an unsafe intersection. Make it safe for the kids. There are tons of pedestrians, adults, students, kids that walk those streets. It needs to be safe. A truck shouldn't be able to drive all the way up on the sidewalk at an intersection. That concerns me. Also, selling whippets at gas stations, vape stores. The chefs aren't buying their whippets at vape stores, or their whipped cream canisters at vape stores. They're just not. They're using a business license. They're getting it probably from their wholesaler. Mississippi as a whole needs to do something about that. It's dangerous. It could have taken 3 lives.
You're basically snorting while you're driving, just.
Yeah, it causes you to pass out. So it's very dangerous to get behind the wheel, and kids don't need to be doing it anyway. It's illegal to do it to get high,
Yeah.
but it's not illegal to sell it. So make that make sense.
Yeah.
So I would like to see an ordinance passed in the city, at the very least, that prohibits the sale of whippets. And I would like to see additional charges be brought against Sam Wellborn to account for the injuries that these kids sustained.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.